Okay, let me tell y'all that my middle one, we go and get spray tans together. And I love them, and I feel thinner in them. If you're going through a hard time, go get a spray tan. Makes you feel like a movie star. Okay, well, we went the other night, and this is the difference for you young mamas out there. Like, women going like in your 20s and 30s and even in your 40s when you still are, have life left in you. Okay. There's something happens to you when you're in your 50s, and it is wonderful. You don't care, okay? You don't care about anything. All right. We go to get a spray tan, and y'all know about Snapchat. There's a thing called Snapchat where you can video somebody and send it to your friend. Okay. Or send it out to the world, I guess. All right. I'm completely naked with a plastic bag on my head. In the spray tanning thing, and it's like a car wash. It does this. And then you do. And then you do. And then you do. Okay. And when it's cold outside, it feels like needles going in you. It's so cold. Oh, that's awful. But anyway, she started filming me on Snapchat. Completely nude. Now, in my 30s and 40s, I would have been hysterical, and I would have been in a bowl, and I would have been so torn up. In your 50s, at first I was like, and then I was like, I don't care. I think I may have gone, I don't care. I don't care. It's a wonderful feeling. I hope y'all can all get to that one day where you don't care. Honey, it's wonderful. Tennessee in Knoxville, our children's hospital, had asked me for years to be in there Dancing with the Stars. I want to be able to tell y'all it was ABC, but it wasn't. It was in Knoxville, and it was local celebrities. So it's like the weatherman. And Phil Fulmer if he didn't have a knee replacement. And people like that. So they had asked me, there's not many celebrities, so they had asked me, and I said, well, I've been eating white flour, and I'm in a bad place, and I don't know. Because they make you wear a bikini with fringe sewn on it, like ABC. You wear outfits like that, so you're practically nude in front of everybody you've ever known. So I said, this is for little children. This is the least I can do. So they put me with a big old boy that was my partner. He was a doll, and it was very stressful. You had to learn a dance in 6 weeks. You had to learn a dance. You practiced at night, and then you begged for money during the day. It was a lot. And we were going to learn the cha-cha to Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I was going to kill it. Well, one night, he kind of flung me hard, and I thought, oh, something popped. And something doesn't feel right. The next morning I woke up and there was this big bulging thing about right here. And I called my girlfriend in Greenville, Tennessee, and I said, I think I've got backed up poop. And she said, because I have trouble with that. But she's saying, I don't think poop goes up that far. And so she looked on her iPad on WebMD, and she sent me this picture of this man looked like an alien coming out of him. She said, is that it? And I go, that's it. She goes, you've got a hernia. So I went to my doctor, and they said, we can't push this thing back in. And so the thing was in 5 days with the Children's Hospital, and I didn't want to let them down. And I thought, Lord, what are we going to do? And my girls stepped in and learned a dance in 4 days. Bless their hearts, and they're practically nude. And they had to wear all that too. And I came out in a wheelchair to Proud Mary. My middle one, we go and get spray tans together. And I love them, and I feel thinner in them. If you're going through a hard time, go get a spray tan. Makes you feel like a movie star. Okay, well, we went the other night, and this is the difference for you young mamas out there. Like women going like in your 20s and 30s and even in your 40s when you still are, have life left in you. Okay. There's something happens to you when you're in your 50s, and it is wonderful. You don't care, okay? You don't care about anything. All right. We go to get a spray tan, and y'all know about Snapchat. There's a thing called Snapchat where you can video somebody and send it to your friend. Okay. Or send it out to the world, I guess. All right. I'm completely naked with a plastic bag on my head. In the spray tanning thing, and it's like a car wash. It does this. And then you do. And then you do. And then you do. Okay. And when it's cold outside, it feels like needles going in you. It's so cold. Oh, that's awful. But anyway, she started filming me on Snapchat. Completely nude. Now, in my 30s and 40s, I would have been hysterical, and I would have been in a bowl, and I would have been so torn up. In your 50s, at first I was like, and then I was like, I don't care. I think I may have gone. I don't care. I don't care. It's a wonderful feeling. I hope y'all can all get to that one day where you don't care. Honey, it's wonderful. I just don't care. Okay. All right. She is a beauty. And I know every crow thinks theirs is the blackest, but she's always had a bunch of boys coming around wanting to date her. So there was one that came around, and he was a player. Do y'all remember that? Playa? Remember? So the young people call it playa. My husband's not a player. He doesn't chat at all. So he never sweet talked me or, he's not that way. Solid, though. Solid. I've got good health insurance. But, he has never, charmed, not that kind of man. Okay. Well, she had this one coming around. He was a charmer. He was a player. And so he would say to me things like, Miss Morgan, you look beautiful. And I'd be like, can I make you a casserole? And eventually they broke up, praise God, because I was exhausted. I was blowing my hair out every day and mopping the kitchen floor. So one of my good friends in Nashville said, I'm selling this jewelry. And you get out and you schlep this jewelry around in women's houses like Tupperware. So, and I didn't even care about jewelry. So I get out and start selling this jewelry. And instead of talking about jewelry, I talk about breastfeeding and hemorrhoids and how my husband doesn't wake up when the baby's crying and all that. I kind of developed an act. And women thought I was funny. And one night somebody peed on a couch, Charlie. And I thought then, I've got something. And I had always loved comedy. My husband and I had been on a trip.
Wait. Okay, back this up. I thought when you said someone peed on a couch, I thought that was the beginning of a news story. But you're saying someone laughed so hard they just peed on a couch. And that's how you knew. That's how you knew.
That's how I knew. Something. I'm not kidding. That was a God moment. When I clicked in my head, I thought, okay, I've got it. Because I'd been thinking all this time that I'd not been doing anything. Always in my heart, I thought, I'm going to be doing something. And I'd always loved comedy. I knew I was funny. I knew I could tell a story. But, when you come from a little country town and then, everybody takes a traditional bath and you go to college and everybody expects you to be a certain, I just did not know how and I didn't know when, but I knew I was still going to do it.
Yeah.
And so my husband and I had been to the Comedy Store on a trip in LA. And I watched them. Dom Herrera got up. I'm trying to think of all the people that were there, but it was a wonderful night. And I remember thinking in my head, I can do this. I'm going to be doing this. But I just kept it to myself. And so I start selling this jewelry, and women start booking me so far in advance, like a year in advance, to have these jewelry parties. So I look back on it now, there were no comedy clubs, but it was my own little comedy club in every one of these little houses. And I'd go and put that jewelry out on somebody's kitchen table. And then I'd talk about, breastfeeding, hemorrhoids, and, stuff mamas go through. And the company noticed and started asking me to speak at their big things. And women, it was all women, and they in the audience, and they would come up to me after and go, "You need to be a stand-up comedian." And there was a guy there who had done comedy a long time in this was a Christian jewelry business. And so there was a Christian comic, Dennis Swanberg. I cannot believe I remembered his name, but he was big in the Christian comedy world. And I didn't even know anything about Christian comedy, but he came up to me and he goes, "I think you need to try stand-up." He was like the big entertainment, and I was just a speaker. And I literally breastfed by then I had my second baby. She's 25 now. I nursed her on the toilet in Opryland Hotel in Nashville, handed her over to my mama, and then got up on stage and talked. So anyway, he came up to me and said, "I think you need to try it." And the women were saying it, and it gave me the confidence, Charlie, to do it. And so little things, just people came in my path, and I just fell into stuff. And I started doing like little things around the community for like the Rotary Club or Kiwanis Capers. And honey, I thought I was Chris Rock. And my husband sold that business and went to work for a large mobile home company that's all over the United States. It's a Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett company. And they moved us to San Antonio. And San Antonio had a club, and I started working that club, and it wasn't that great a fit, but I was unique there. It was a lot of Hispanic comics, and they were all darling, but that was kind of the thing there. And so I started driving to Austin, Texas, to Cap City Comedy Club, which is one of the best comedy clubs in the United States. And Margie Cole was ran it for years with Rich Miller, Dennis Miller's brother from Saturday Night Live. And she believed in me and moved me from opener to headliner for the first time in their history. I never featured. I mean, I maybe featured 2 or 3 times, but she moved me from opener to headliner. And let me tell you, Charlie, I sucked. And I had explosive, this is terrible to say, but I had horrible diarrhea all week. I mean, like, I just thought I'm like, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. I was so torn up and not ready, but she believed in me. And that's how I got started. And that from there, things kind of, And I tell you, for you little mamas out there, you young mamas that are going through, got a bunch of little children vomiting in the carpet, peeing in the closet. When you're trying to pee and they like slide ham under the door and say, "Can you open this, Mom?" I know what y'all want for Mother's Day. Y'all want an Ambien and a hotel room. I hope y'all get it. I hope y'all get it. When you get to be my age, and I'm 51 years old, honey, you beg your little children to come home and be up your butthole. I beg them and try to hold money over their head. All right, but they're all home. I'm so thankful, so grateful. Okay, y'all, we got a big night ahead of us. Y'all are precious. I want to talk to y'all about, because I am 51 and going through hormonal changes. Okay, I am with their daddy, and these children all walked off and left me with him. And he's so not fun. And And he can't help it. He's that way because he has to make a living for all of us. And he's got a lot on us, and all the money's going out the window. And, you know, because we got 2 in college, we just had 1 get married. Yes, but he and I are having to adjust being together for the first time in how many years, you know, before we got married. And so he sends me emoji, kissy faces, and stuff like that. But I am low on progesterone and testosterone. He's low on testosterone, praise God. So I found out in the United States there's called competition cheer. And we have it here in Knoxville. It's called the Sharks. Premier Sharks. So I dropped her off so that she could audition or try out or whatever you call it for that. And she came out, ended up making like a bad Mama Jamma squad because all the little children her age came up to here on her, and somebody's got to throw them up in the air. So they said, oh my gosh, we want her so bad. And they said, you're going to drop her off 2 days a week, and she's going to learn this 2.5-minute routine, and it's going to cost you $150 a month. And I said, okay. And then they said, there's a uniform that we're going to order for her, and it's sequined up the sleeves, and it comes right here, and it's going to expose her stomach, and then it's going to have a tiny little skirt with it, with a slit in it, with a glitter panty underneath it. And that's $300. And it comes with its own bag of makeup and a bow. And I called it a whore outfit. And that little bag of whore makeup made all the little children look like whores together. And they said, y'all are going to travel to faraway lands, and you're going to compete against other little whore children. So we drove to Atlanta and Cincinnati and places like that. And we'd drive up to a big coliseum that would be pitch black in it. And there would be music pumping and lights, and there'd be a darling feminine boy announcing. And there would be tens of thousands of little whore children walking around. And they would say, you and your husband need to pay $150 for her to be in this competition. And you each need a armband that costs $30 to get in to see your baby in this competition. The corn dogs cost $15.